Good morning. It's a special midweek edition of Business Morning, and it's because it's coming to you from our new studio. This is the first episode of Business Morning coming from this new studio, so it's going to be a lovely episode today. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the program. I'm Ini John Mekwa. As usual, let's do business, and the first business we're doing this morning is oil prices. Prices fell about 1% in early trade today, reversing gains from the previous session ahead of a meeting by OPEC Plus today on fears of a slowdown in global growth, hitting fuel demand and a firmer dollar. Brent crude futures fell by 94 cents to $99.60 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures were down 68 cents to $93.74 a barrel after climbing 53 cents yesterday. OPEC Plus meeting today, and analysts believe that the group will likely keep output unchanged in September. Even if they're going to raise it to be slightly. Analysts are also expecting no change due to a weak outlook for demand as recession fears grows. Well, coming back here in Nigeria, we have the Stanbic PMI for the month of July. The purchasing manager for July was registered at 53.2, and that's up from 50.9 in June, signaling an improvement in business conditions in Nigeria's private sector. The latest figure rose from June's 17-month low, but was still muted compared to historical average. A return to growth in outlook and stronger inflows of new orders helped underpin a further improvement in operating conditions in the Nigerian private sector during July. In turn, businesses increased their purchasing activity at the strongest rate for 5 months, while stocks improved sharply. Despite stronger inflows of new work, employment growth eased and was marginal amid elevated costs. The output price inflation accelerated to 4 months high in July. Turning to prices now. Overall input price inflation was robust amid a quicker uptick in purchase costs. Staff costs rose only marginally. However, firms passed on a large part of the burden by lifting their selling prices at the quickest rate in 4 months. And still in Nigeria, more than 211,000 businesses have emerged as beneficiaries of the federal government's Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survival Fund since it was instituted following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. This was made known by a representative of the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Kamar Barkin, during a town hall meeting that it held with beneficiaries in Lagos. He also mentioned that a total of 490,408 employees within the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory have received between 30,000 and 50,000 naira as 3 months' salaries.
This brings the total of beneficiaries in the Southwest region to 211,962 beneficiaries. This is not to say that there were no challenges that were encountered during the implementation. Some of these included the initial lack of trust below Nigeria, the initial lack of trust by the beneficiaries as it required obtaining people's details, especially their BVNs. The above is closely related to the initial reluctance by Nigerians on government intervention programs, as they assumed that you needed to know someone to benefit from the scheme. There was a heavy reliance on the use of information technology for transparency and traceability, which also left the program susceptible to infiltration by internet scammers. There were also instances of multiple applications using forged documents, fake beneficiaries, and attempts to bribe officials to bypass the process. The federal government at this point wishes to appreciate the effort, integrity, and commitment of MSMEs across the country who participated in the successful implementation of GOS, which required the supply of offtake items to the federal government. Despite the rising production costs, these businesses completed their contracts under the scheme.
Yeah, welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. Well, at the end of the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the CBN governor spoke on some activities which could be termed as speculative demand for the dollar. And this, he said, has been fueling demand for the dollar and consequently putting a lot of pressure on the Naira. Foreign reserve dropped. The central bank intervention has been connected to that. Well, we have joining us in the studio now Dr. Tope Fasua. He's an economist to discuss how we can save the Naira. Good morning, Dr. Fasua. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, it's good to know that. I mean, on Friday, I think the country went into a frenzy when we saw that the Naira went to 700 plus for a dollar. Do we know what pushed it? What really happened to push it there?
Panic, speculation. Like you rightly said, the central bank has also noticed this. I think it went as high as 716 or thereabout.
Yes.
But I'm just checking now, and I think as of yesterday, 675 was reported.
Yeah, I think I checked this morning about 650.
And mind you, 650. I mean. By every means, that divergence between what the official or the I&E window and the what's called the parallel or black market shouldn't exist. It shouldn't be that much, But like I've argued elsewhere, where the entire citizens of a country are taking position against their currency, that's what you find.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because it's so easy. Of late, people drop words here and there, and people say, wow, okay, the rate is going to be this much. They quote a certain figure, 8,000, that's, and all of that. And when
But they're saying that because of the realities that they see.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you can see now, why has it crashed between Friday and today?
There was an intervention by the CBN. We saw a drop in the foreign reserve.
It's really artificial, really, if you ask me. It's really artificial.
So are you saying the demand for Forex is artificial?
No. See, what's called the black market, okay, and it's called the black market for that reason, because it's largely an illegal market. However, it's an efficient market, it must be said, because if you wanted to change $50, you can quickly change in your car and drive off. But does it dictate where the currency should be? Where the currency should be based on international trade, whether in terms of invisible trade or visible trade. And that's what should worry the central bank, to say, are we providing enough for that segment of the market? But in the black market, that's where you see funding for things like illegal activities like drug trading, money laundering, corruption, and what have you,
but I've spoken to a lot of business people who say that is their savior. The parallel market has become their savior.
Exactly. So where we are right now is that it's also a challenge to the central bank to say, listen, we are now in need of serious reforms. And, they need to be able to meet the demands of the official transactions, legitimate transactions, eligible transactions, and meet them quick enough and robustly enough. But look, we're Nigerians. We also know that people make from M's, they say they want to import, but the bottom line, they want to transfer the money abroad to a friend or an accomplice, and then route it back, and then make a lot of money out of that. So we have to make provision for all of that. It's what it is. We are who we are. But the central bank cannot feed that market. So whatever it is, and you can see a few reforms are between the custom and the CBN in terms of checking, verifying invoices abroad and all of that. All of those things must come. They must be tech-enabled to be able to check that and make it seamless, And
we saw the EFCC visiting some BDCs in Abuja.
Yeah, now BDCs, you see, we often conflate BDC, even they themselves, they conflate their function with the parallel market, or the black market. BDC and parallel market are not supposed to be the same. BDCs are set up all over the world for tourism, okay, for tourists to be able to quickly change their money or to buy quick money and move. Now, the BDC should not be saying that they're selling money at black market rate. On what basis? On what basis? So that's where the EFCC comes in and all of that. Remember, I said that, look, that market is good for funding things like corruption. I mean, if you wanted to pay $100 million now, having done a contract somewhere, you're not going to be calling Naira to them. See, the kind of reforms we are going to see, Nigeria must actually buckle and be like the rest of the world at some point. We're a very cash-intensive economy, despite e-banking, despite all the kind of reforms that have happened. But we have to actually start to do things the way other people do it. If you travel abroad these days, you see that cash is becoming outlawed. You see,
Yeah,
you may not be able to
so,
spend cash in many places,
so
but here we still move cash
talking
around.
about reforms, we've seen the central bank take some steps. I remember when they stopped supplying forex to the BDCs,
Yeah.
and then stopped the online platform, you know, that used to tell us some of those rates and everything. Everyone
Yeah.
thought we're going to see one big change or something. What are we seeing?
No,
you know, what has been the impact?
It's
of
ongoing.
that?
However, the central bank is going to need political backing for the kind of reforms we need to do. For example, I said that people are, basically taking position and speculating against the Naira, okay? And what that means is that what they call arbitrage in the market. People are thinking of, okay, the Naira officially is going for 400 and maybe 420, thereabout, and this other market is going for 600 and something. So how can I get money from here and sell at that rate and make the difference? And then, of course, anybody owns a DOM account, a domiciliary account. So if Nigerians are saving their money in the dollar, everybody's saving their money in the dollar, investing in the dollar, you're taking a position against your currency. Political backing, because we'll see a lot of money, okay, the dollar, around the hands of politicians and big guys in society. Yes, many of them only spend dollar. It's unfortunate. Their children, their relation, their grandmother, they only spend dollar. So you have to take a position.
Doesn't that tell about the level of confidence on the Naira? Isn't that what this is about?
That's lack of confidence is what you mean.
So we should do something to boost confidence on the Naira.
Exactly. No. It's a political thing also, because the president must have to speak about this. The management of the currency of a country, is not just a function for central banks. I mean, so we like to wake up every morning and say, oh, the CBN is this, Emefiele has done that and all of that. He's not the president. The president has to understand that this part of his function. If your people are shorting your currency, if your people are expressing no confidence in your currency, you're the one that must let them know the meaning of a currency. The currency is a representation of Nigeria. The currency is we. The currency is our worth. And of course, you see people who will come and say, oh, why don't we just devalue the Naira or float it? We don't have the wherewithal to do that. Okay, if you devalue the Naira...
What about merging the windows? What's wrong with that?
Merging the windows, what you mean? Oh, can you bring down the parallel market to where the official is? No, you can't.
No, they can meet somewhere in between.
Let me tell you what will happen. If you move the Naira to, let's say, 500 or something.
Yeah, some people have said 500.
The other one will also move to 700. That's it. You know why? Because of those transactions I've told you, which cannot be met officially. For as long as those demands are coming, number one, for as long as people are spending in dollar and moving dollar around in their boot, for as long as people are saving their little reserves in dollar,
what does the CBN want the executive to do about this category of people? Because I know you do know them, and that's why the CBN governor referred to them, especially because of the political season, political activities. What does the CBN think can be done about that, since it's not a fiscal,
I may not be able to
fiscal action?
I'm not be able to speak for the CBN, but in my own opinion, I think that we have got to the epoch where we need to de-dollarize the system. And number one, there's no need for people to be having DOM accounts, okay? In having DOM accounts, as personal DOM accounts, you're taking a position against your currency, against your country's currency. You don't need it. But if you're a business doing international trade transaction, yes, it can be justified, maybe a travel agent and whatever, you can justify that. But where you have, if today the central bank says, for example, they have this scheme whereby they give 65 Naira per dollar to people who export goods, especially those who export value-added, RT200, and say, listen, tomorrow, we will stop entertaining personal DOM accounts. We would only allow for corporates, for example, who need such account. However, if you have money there, it's either you change it at that kind of rate plus an extra and incentivize them. No, I'm just saying, this is a very serious policy issue. And you incentivize those who have money and say, listen, you have to change back into this, given a certain... Look, they did it in India. In fact, they did it in India. It's called black money. They did it in India about 2016, 2017. And even they were doing it on their own country's currency. They found out that people had so much money in cash under their bed and all of that. Bank it, except or you lose it. So in this instance now, look, the country cannot cope. We don't have that wherewithal. Like I said before, look, if you look at Nigeria, what makes the currency of a country? strong or otherwise. It's what you import versus what you export. If you look at our import profile, you see our biggest import is actually technology. Everything here is technology. Your phone, your laptop, you know, all of that. Technology is about $35 billion we bring in on that. The second thing is petroleum, refined petroleum, about 20 billion. We spend about 25 billion on refined petroleum, diesel, and all of that on the import side. Then we have big imports. We have wheat alone, wheat for bread. Wheat alone, we bring in about $2.5 billion every year. Pharmaceuticals, about $2 billion every year. Even things like milk.
So we go back to local,
dollars.
We go back to
now,
local
but if you look at, exactly, but if you look at our export side, we only have one thing. Okay, as against 12 items on the import side that are $1 billion, we have only one thing that is in the
crude.
No, exactly.
In crude states.
One thing. That's the only thing that is in the $1 billion on our export side. The next thing we have on our export side are things like oil seeds, sesame seed,
which
ginger,
are exported in crude. So
$200 million. Wait, just hang on a second, Ini. You see, we are not alarmed enough. You see, it's not enough for people to just pass the blame. We're killing our country. And for as long as we've been independent, all we are doing is still exporting crops, for crying out loud. I chatted the two together, you see just how insignificant.
What should we be doing?
We should be producing.
Who should be producing?
And in producing. The government is not going to produce.
So let's look at the reality. I'm happy you brought that. One minute, Dr. Fashua. 1 minute, Dr. It's good you talked about producing because, of course, one of the ways of boosting the Naira would be to have things to export.
Absolutely.
Now, people want to export. People want to produce. You have infrastructural problems. You have insecurity.
Go ahead all the same.
Do you understand? Go ahead with what?
You have to keep trying. It's a matter of survival, okay? Whether at an individual basis.
Most farmers do not go to the farm anymore now. So where do we get the raw materials
It's
from?
back to the national question. It's back to the president to do what they need to do. And hopefully maybe there'll be a change of governance. Maybe we'll see something better. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that we have no choice but to try and produce. And I want people to see it as opportunities. If you say there are no jobs in Nigeria, no business in Nigeria, but mind you, foreigners come here and then they make a kill. You know, okay, are we all going to leave the country so that foreigners can come and inherit the country and then they turn it around? There's nothing wrong with this country. A lot of the security problems we'll be having are subject of compromises because there has to be, even General Abacha said it before he died, that look, when some of those things continue, say for 2 weeks, the government must be aware of it. So they know what it is they're doing, that they're spending so many billions on security and they were not having the security all the same. Yeah. However, it is still an opportunity for our people to get involved in business. We have no choice. If we say, okay, let's play the currency game, and everybody is playing the currency game, oh, let me buy dollar here, keep it, the Naira will become rubbish, and all of that. And at the end, you know what you're doing? What you're doing is that those who don't have access to money to buy those dollars are getting more desperate because by you buying dollars, the Naira is falling, inflation sets in big time in society. That's why we are seeing the prices of many things doubling and tripling now. So those who have no access will come for those who have. You find out that we have no society in good time. All
right, Dr. Tope Fashua. Well, I guess this is an ongoing conversation. Where do we start from? Is it from the chicken or is it from the egg? I think that's the question.
The political decision needs to be made. Nigeria has to stop all of this speculation and shorting and arbitraging on the Naira. Nobody allows that. In China, you short their currency, they march you to the gao, they cut your head off. You know, so we cannot. You see, the politicians must understand that this is their problem. And of course, what I'm proposing really, okay, will come for the jugular of the corruption problem that we've been talking about. Corruption gets paid in dollars. We have more dollar here, we have more $100 in Nigeria by far than what they have in the United States. That is the truth.
Well,
why are we the ones worshipping the dollar here?
It's a good time to have this conversation because Nigerians will have the opportunity to choose a new set of leaders in a couple of months. So these are the things they should consider and find out who would make the business environment friendly enough for production so that we can have
it as an opportunity. Yeah. It is many times opportunities are actually disguised by challenges. When you peel off those challenges, you see just how much opportunity. What that means is that there's money to be made for every Nigerian, but we must focus on our currency. It's either you play the currency game or you play the productivity game. So let's play the productivity game as much as we can,
and then
rather than
affect
the currency game.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tope Fashua, economist, for talking about how to save the Naira this morning. We do hope that actions will be taken to follow up on this.
Thank you.
You're still watching Business Morning. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll go to AFEX Commodities Market. To stay with us. Welcome back. Let's get a sense of activities on the FX exchange for the weekend at the 1st of August, when we see that the number of deals dropped by almost 13%. And joining us for that now is Senior Analyst Structuring and Origination with AFEX, Suleiman. Suleiman joins us virtually. Hi, Suleiman. Good morning.
Good morning, Uni.
Yeah, so give us a rundown of the market activity for till the 1st of August.
Okay, thank you very much. For the week under review, we actually witnessed a significant uptick in terms of market activities, with the total value traded increasing by 2.3 times, from about 1.29 billion in the previous week to about 2.9 billion for the week under review. In terms of total volume traded, there was a significant uptick also from at about 2.87 times, from 3.86 million contracts in the previous week to 11.1 million contracts in the week under review. In terms of number of deals, there was a little bit downturn of 12.81%, from about 242 deals in the previous week to 211 deals in the week under review. The ACI also witnessed a downturn of about 0.80%, 0.96%, going from 472 points in the previous week to about 467 points in the week under review. The AEI, the AFEX Export Index, however, closed the week flat. In terms of individual commodities volume traded, maize witnessed a massive uptick from about 990,000 in the previous week to about 11 million contract traded in the week under review. While there was also a little bit movement in terms of paddy rice trading during the week, going from about 90% traded. Hold on, please. With the paddy rice going from 75,000 traded in the previous week to 131,000 volume traded in the week under review. However, all other contracts on the exchange closed the week in the red in terms of volume traded. In terms of individual price movement on the exchange, we witnessed a significant movement in the maize, which was as a result of the volume increase. The maize contract moved from 8.92% during the week, representing a 20.42 Naira gain, to close the week at 249.39 Naira. Also, there was an increase in the sorghum price during the week, gaining 10.85% to close the week at 306.46%, 306.46 Naira during the week. Paddy rice price on the exchange, however, witnessed a downturn of 12.53% to close the week under review at 247.81 Naira. Soybean also closed the week in the red, falling by 0.80%, representing a 3.31 Naira downturn in price. Cashew nuts, ginger, sesame, and cocoa all closed the week flat, maintaining the same price levels from the previous week. And that's all on my end from Lagos here. So for more updates, you can follow us across our social media platform at AFEX Nigeria, and also you can check out our website at www.africanexchange.com. Thank you, Ini. Over to you.
All right, yeah. Thank you so much, Suleiman. Thanks for that details of trading for the week. So let's move on now. Of course, still talking about AFEX. Code cash crop, disrupting agricultural trade infrastructure. That's what AFEX is also interested in. And Code cash crop is an industry platform initiative which harnesses the intersection of three key sectors that seldom interact: agriculture, finance, and technology. And this is done to unlock innovative solutions to Africa's food challenges. And saying that AFEX is very much interested in food security and how to get food down to everyone and make it available at the bearers or the cheapest amount. AFEX last week, Saturday, had their event on code cash crop and how they intend to use that to boost the commodities ecosystem. And we do hope to have that conversation with AFEX on disrupting agricultural trade infrastructure. But I think we'll just have to take a breather now, and then we'll come back and see if we can get AFEX to have a conversation on that. We're ready for that conversation now. AFEX code cash crop that was held last week, Saturday, and what they intend to do with it. We have the Chief Technology Officer, Yusuf Oguntola, joining us virtually now. Hi, Yusuf, good morning. So tell us about this event you had on Saturday, the code cash crop.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And let me start by thanking everyone that attended Code Cash Crop on Saturday. From the panelists to the judges to all of the finalists that came in to pitch their ideas to the panel of judges that we had that day. It was a very fantastic idea. When we're thinking about having this conversation, we thought of bringing together a set of people who are experts in these different key sectors that we've identified, who needs to come together and have conversation to move Africa's trade infrastructure forward, right? We had the intention, we put it together, we called on submissions of applications, we wrote out to all the panelists and the judges to come on board and have these conversations together. We are quite glad that everyone adhered to our call and attended the event on Saturday. It was a glamorous event for everyone that actually saw it.
Do you think that conversations that were held during the panel would help in shaping the commodities, and how soon? Because we're really eager, we want to see results.
Yeah, so it was very fantastic conversations, right? We have 3 panel sessions on that day. The first one was where the panelists were looking at the present and future of agriculture, commodity trade in Africa. The second was where they were talking about how do we de-risk cross-border transactions to simplify trade in Africa. And the third panel, they were talking about how do we finance the emergence of efficient agricultural marketplace for Africa. So in all of these 3 panel sessions, the panelists were storing fantastic ideas, catalyzing innovations and conversations as to how do we improve on what we currently have, what are the problems with what we have today as an infrastructure within the agricultural sector, how do we improve on all of those, how do we solve them permanently, and how do we then finally expand on whatever solution we are now preferring now to be able to get it solved. There were conversations as to how, what role should the government play in this conversation altogether? What role should financial institutions, banks, and other financiers play in this conversation? And they were quite interesting conversations. And not just stopping it there, we're taking these conversations further, right? Which is why, as an organization, we are quite big on partnership, we're quite big on collaboration. We understand that we are trying to solve a very complex problem, and it's not possible for us to attempt to say we want to solve it all alone. So we are bringing all of these people together, bringing all of the ideas together, having a conversation with different sectors, different key people within the sector that needs to put their hands on deck and get the problem solved. Make sure that we have everybody doing their bit and contributing their bit to the conversation.
So what are some of the highlights? I guess you've already said that, this conversation and what we hope to happen following the conversation. But you had 3 finalists and some other participants from the event. Right. What's happening to them? What's next for them?
So they're quite lucky, right? So we had close to 200 submissions for the Ag Hackathon. So for us to even have 6 of them come on board on that day, it means the 6 of them are actually first winners in their own regard. Now, we have 3 winners. We have 3 people who didn't make it to the final win, right? For the 6 of them, we have a partner, Aravo, who has committed to training all of them, giving them access to their training kits. So each of them would have access to working with Aravo to um, sharpen their knowledge, skill, and then be able to promote whatever they have and they intend to do. For the remaining 3 others who were actually the winner, the second runner up, the first runner up, and the winner went home with a cash prize of 2.5 million naira. The first runner up went home with 1.5 million naira cash prize. The second runner up went home with 1 million naira cash prize. Now, we're not stopping there. We are going to also be mentoring the 3 of them to ensure that they finally build the solution they have proposed, and it gets to then start solving the problem they intend for it to solve. Also that day, because we had 2 people from Microsoft, right? We had the country manager of Microsoft in Ghana and Nigeria. We also have the cyber lead for Microsoft for West and East Africa in the house that day. So they immediately said they are going to allow these 3 winners access to the Microsoft lead immediately. So they also have an incentive from Microsoft immediately. So we're going to see to making sure that these 3 solutions become a success at the end of the day.
All right, Yusuf, we say congratulations to those winners, and we do hope that you follow up with your promises, and then we'll make the most of it. Thank you so much, Yusuf Oguntola, Chief Technology Officer, AFEX, telling us about the code cash crop that AFEX had on Saturday.
Thank you.
So let's move to another market now, outside the commodities market. We'll do equities first. I'm happy to say that the equities market in Nigeria is back to a bullish sentiment. At least we saw that yesterday, and we do hope that it will stay. The all-share index advanced by 1.4% to close at 50,626.04 points, precisely. Bargain hunting in MTN Nigeria drove that sentiment. Stock supported the market performance year to date there. Well, looking at the sectors now, when we see that on the sectors, consumers goods was positive, banking was positive, GTCO and FBNH, a lot of them drove that. Insurance was the only one negative, and then oil and gas still trying to make up its mind. But at least this took the market back to the bullish sentiment. We don't know what it will look like today, because we had this kind of a bounce, or a bounce bigger than this on Friday, and then by Monday we're back to the bear sentiment. Well, looking at other markets now, let's look at the fixed income market and see there at the top trades. FBN, Multiverse just find their way there yesterday, able to break into the financial services, entering into that. Now let's look at other market, the fixed income market and money market for yesterday. If we look at the federal government bonds, for instance, we do see that overnight lending rate expanded, and the FGM bonds had 12 deals valued at 1.35 billion naira. We saw there that the March 2027 security was really caught the eye of a lot of investors. Let's look at the CBN bonds and see how that also performed yesterday. The Treasury bonds. The Treasury secondary market traded with bearish sentiment. Average yield expanded by 17 basis points to 12.1%. Across the benchmark curve, the average yield exchange at the short 5 basis points, mid 19 basis points, and long 24 basis points on the segment. There was profit taking on March 2027 and February 2028 yesterday. That's the figure for the open market securities yesterday. Well, let's hope at least the equities will keep it. The fixed income market is still sleeping, hoping that some things will bring it up in a very short time. But let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll head to London. Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. We head to our London studio now, where Juliana is standing by with not very good news. Juliana, good morning. So now we're not just talking about inflation or recession. We're talking about stagflation, Juliana, and it doesn't look so good at this time. I don't see any light here.
Well, there is always light, but if we have a look, Innie, good morning, at what stagflation is, it's a period of low economic growth, high unemployment and rising prices. It does appear as if the UK already is there. However, unemployment is actually at a record low at the moment, which is why, there could be a little bit of politicking going on. But new data has been released by the National Institute of Economic and Social Research, and they're basically putting more pressure on the incoming government to do more to help people with soaring prices. Yes, we are going through a cost of living crisis in the UK. Prices are surging. I think Bank of England have got an official inflation rate of 9.4%. Although if you speak to most people living up and down this country, they would tell you it does feel more like 10%. In some places, 50%. That's just how high prices are at the moment. And so what the NEISC are asking the incoming Conservative leader to do is much more to help more families on the brink, particularly those who are on benefits or who are off the radar, because there are some people in this country that are not able to receive benefits, especially if you're somebody that's going through an immigration issue at the moment. You are in receipt of nothing. And that's those who are on benefits. There are also those who are working full-time jobs. Their wages are just not going as far as they used to. And we've been told countless times that things, unfortunately, are going to be getting worse in the short term. The only light at the end of the tunnel coming soon is tomorrow, because the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee will be meeting to discuss interest rates, and there are some quarters of economists who say that this needs to be risen to about 3%, which is enormous, but that could potentially be the only way to abate inflation and take out the risk of entering into a recession, although of course there are other economists that say once you raise interest rates and it costs so much more to borrow, a recession is likely going to be triggered, because if it costs to borrow, you're not going to borrow, and then people are not spending. So we are in a vicious cycle at the moment. But let's just wait to see what Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, whoever is going to be Prime Minister, will do to tackle this. So they both come from differing conservative schools of thought, but certainly the economy is the number one issue that needs to be tackled.
Yes, Julian, I was just going to ask that. I mean, I listened a bit when we were talking to Laddie on Russia invasion this morning, and we can't seem to run away from politics at this time in the UK, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. And of course, this is also shaping conversations and investor sentiment at this time.
Well, it's a huge issue. Let's not forget the UK has the 5th largest economy in the world, still a very important power. So whoever is going to be in number 10 Downing Street has significant importance to most countries, particularly Nigeria. Now, there was some breaking news this morning, which I did discuss with Laddie on the Russian invasion programme, which is the National Security Agency in the United Kingdom has asked the Conservative Party to halt electronic balloting because there are fears that this system could be hacked, which is going to potentially be a huge issue, because we know that potentially hundreds of thousands, well, tens of thousands, over 100,000 Conservative Party members will be voting electronically. So it'll be interesting to see how that news carries on as the day proceeds. But the latest survey data revealed by the Times broadcaster is that, Liz Truss isn't just ahead, she's way ahead. I think 65% of Conservative Party members say she will get their vote. A lot say this is loyalty, a lot also say quietly race, and others are saying it's just because of the tax policies. How dare Rishi Sunak be saying he's got a plan to fix the economy when he was Chancellor for a very long time, and some of the issues that we are in is because of his very tight-knit policy of, making sure the coffers are kept high while the people struggle, where it's kind of not a time to save when people need help and support. So yes, if things go the way they are, then certainly I think most people people are saying that Liz Truss is guaranteed the slot, though never say never. And there have been a few tumbles within her campaign, but we'll just have to wait and see, Annie.
All right, Julian, I know we're going to have to talk about this a whole lot in the coming days, and of course, how investors are reacting to it and all of that. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you at 1:30.
Thank you.
Okay, now, so let's move to the crypto space now. We have Ladi joining us. Ladi, welcome to our new studio.
Great to join you on this
welcome to our new studio.
Fresh new studio.
I was here before you.
Yeah.
I was here for stock market reports.
Exactly.
I was here for business morning. This is your first time.
And this is my first time.
I beat you to it.
Yeah. Great to be here. All right, now we see the market right now. It's looking not so bad.
Tell me the market is giving me good news since we are in
Yeah, we have a little good news this morning, but you know, with geopolitical tensions right now, we're seeing all the markets actually tanking, but it's not looking so bad,
right,
you know, in the crypto space. Let's take a look at the sentiment in the market now. We can see it's the fear greed index. We see 34 points, showing that it's fear we're seeing in the market, you know, right now at 34. It's an improvement from what we've had for the past weeks now. We've been in extreme fear for a long time. Let's take a look at the market cap now. We see the market cap there, $1.07 trillion, up 1.39%. And we see volume inching downward at this point. It's down 8.35%. And we see Bitcoin dominance there still at 41.16%, down about 0.39%. Let's look at the price of Bitcoin this morning, $23,028. Up 0.67%. It did lose that $23,000 mark initially, but it's managed to bounce back up there. We're seeing a lot of geopolitical tension, you know, right now with what's happening with Taiwan and China, and that impacted most of these markets. We saw Bitcoin, you know, tank, but actually recover sharply. Volume traded, $27.07 billion. Let's look at Ethereum now. See Ethereum, $1,637, up 1.02%. Not looking bad. Volume traded $18.38 billion. And look at the top alts by market cap. It's mostly positive, you know, on that counter. Top alts, we see BNB there, up 1.26%. Cardano, 50 cents, just marginally up by 0.05. And we see XRP, 37 cents, up by 0.77%. Let's bring in my guest now, Michael Inaji. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Ladi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, great to have you, Michael. Welcome to our news set. You're my first guest on the news set. Great to have you, Michael. So we saw that news earlier about Ethereum trading volume hitting 50% parity with Bitcoin for the first time this year. What does that mean?
Basically, it means that the Bitcoin bull market is over. So you're finding other traders speculate on Ethereum. Basically, you know, they're trying to take what little money is in the system left now, and they're just cycling it around. So it's basically old money chasing older money, and it's basically just a rotation. So people are rotating in from narratives that make sense. So for instance, in the last couple of weeks, you've seen a lot of alts rebound almost 100, 200, 300%, far better than what Bitcoin has returned in the same time. It's only up about 60%. But in the same time, other alts are up, you know, hundreds of percents in relative. So that's why you're seeing that volume at all-time high, is because once Bitcoin dies down in terms of volatility and volume, people have to make money somewhere else. So they just speculate on other coins. And so that's why we're seeing, you know, the dominance being as high as it is. But I think the most interesting development is in the last 24 hours, Solana wallet got broken into. So basically what's happening is people who have never had interacted with any smart contracts in the last 70 days have had their Solana drain. They still haven't figured out what the bug is yet. They're still figuring it out right now. The odds, it's highly likely that they pause the chain and they try and roll it back. But the problem is, it seems like the hack has to deal with the private keys. This has happened on another cryptocurrency chain called IOTA. It basically killed the chain for all intents and purposes in terms of people's trust in it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Solana makes it out from it. And like also as well, on the macroeconomic forces, like you see MicroStrategy, the CEO, Michael Saylor, step down. And so it's almost like he reported earnings yesterday and he had a $93 per share loss. And so you're basically seeing, one of the biggest earnings per share loss on Wall Street by one of the oldest CEOs on. Yeah. So it's one of those things where, I think the board maybe is telling him that we need to separate you as CEO and make you their chairman. So that way people for right now probably think the only thing that he cares about is Bitcoin and not really the furtherment of his business. So I think it's really interesting to see all these things happen here.
Yeah, so
Tesla
much
sold their
happening.
Bitcoin last week, and MicroStrategy, the CEO leaving, becoming the chairman. I think corporates are starting to realize, Bitcoin might not be the best thing to put your money in a recession. It doesn't mean that it's lost its all the things that we love about it. But in the time of a recession, I think the most prudent thing to do is, not to own as much. Yeah, completely risk off. Because at the end of the day, this thing is still going at 14K. And 14K. As much as people want to act like it's not going there, that's where
that's Michael's magic
goes
number.
Most at home.
Yeah, 14K for Bitcoin. We'll be watching out, Michael. And when that eventually happens, I'm going to give you a call, Michael. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a great day now.
All right. So now we see our top post market cap there. It's mostly green. Top 5 gainers. We see Lido Finance there topping that count is up about 20.58%. And Optimism also up about 16.82%. Talking about the top 5 gainers we're looking at, at this point. And we see SNX also on that counter. So the market is not looking so bad right now, but it could be better.
It could be better. Well, if I didn't hear anything else that Michael said, I heard him say Bitcoin might not be a good place to hedge during recession.
During a recession, yeah. Because it's risk off. And what is the most risk asset class right now? Obviously, crypto. So
yeah, and then I know Michael always has this not so bright outlook for Bitcoin, 14,000. I think you had Solomon who said 28,000.
Exactly that. We could see a rally to about 28,000, but at the end of the day, the headwinds are still there. So
they're still there. Not getting worse. I mean, talking about Juliana, we're just talking about stagflation in the UK, in the midst of all of that. But anyway, laddie, I guess that's it for today. You'll be back here at 1:30 for Business Incorporated. I'll be off now, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Business Morning. It's been an exciting one here, starting off here, but this is our home now for Business Morning, so do join us tomorrow. But first, 1:30, Laddie will be back here to give you updates from the world of business. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Have a lovely day.